Christmas, of course, is a time about family and friends, togetherness, generosity, love, and forgiveness, and all that good stuff. And video games. And it's no secret that throughout my life, Christmas morning has shown me some of the most significant video games of my life. With Sonic 2, Crazy Taxi, Mario Galaxy, and more. Just kind of making Christmases super memorable, and also just, I don't know, there's just something about getting a really great video game for Christmas. And as I've grown up, my feelings for gaming haven't changed. I still enjoy video games. I'm not like a super gamer, but I don't get a lot of time during the year to play games anymore, and that's been the case really since my mid-20s. I've been so just bogged down with work and other things to do and stressed. Really, the only time I get to play a game is maybe at midnight when I'm winding down for the night. I might play a little Sonic Mania, but for the most part, don't play as many games as I used to. But that all changes one day of the year, and really maybe like 3 or 4 days, and that's the week of Christmas. Christmas Day, I play a ton of games, and provided I have the time then even. But the whole week of Christmas, it's like the one time that I binge video games to an extent. And it's really the one time I feel like a kid again. So it's not surprising that a lot of the games that I asked for Christmas or even like during the Christmas season are those type of games that kind of bring you back to your childhood. And in my case, I grew up in the 90s, so a lot of you who did grow up in the 90s know what kind of games I'd be into. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about my top 5 most anticipated games for this Christmas as, the time draws near and a new crop of games is, inevitably available. Now, these are not games necessarily that are coming out for Christmas. Some of these games have been out for a while, but these are just games that I'm excited to play on Christmas for different reasons, and I'm going to kind of talk about that now. Starting at number 5, it's the Sega Classics Collection, which is now coming to Switch. It had originally been for PS4 and Xbox One. And I have mixed feelings about these kind of compilations. I generally don't like them. I feel like Sega spent the last 15 years just making compilations of all their great games instead of just making new great games. And, the Sega Genesis Classics Collection has plenty of my favorite games, and many of them are, as you would guess, from former Christmases. Of course, the Genesis being my console of choice for the majority of the 90s. Games like Sonic 2, Sonic Spinball, Vector Man, Sonic 3D Blast, and more, all having significant history in Christmas. And so it'll be really great to play those games again on the Switch, and that was kind of the big deal to me. When this game released on PS4, I really had no interest in picking it up because I can already plug my Genesis into the TV and play it that way. But having it on Switch means I'll have portable versions of like over 50 Sega Genesis games. Many of them I own on cartridge, but there are a good number that I don't, and some that I've never even played before. So it'll be an interesting one for sure, but that's why it's only number 5 on my list, is that, there's so many games I've already played before. Still, there'll be something special about booting up Vector Man again, because that was one of my favorite games of the 1997 Christmas season. So it'll be great to see that one again. Number 4, I have Splatoon 2 for Nintendo Switch, another game that, yes, has been around for a while. Technically, the first one came out, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago on the Wii U. And Splatoon 2 is just more of the same great gameplay, and from what I've gotten to play of it, it's a lot of fun. And to me, this is what video games should be. This has a very Christmassy feel to it. I can't really explain what that means, other than it kind of takes me back to my Dreamcast days when games were just like bright and colorful and just kind of chaotic fun, and that's what Splatoon is, literally. It's just all about color. Kind of reminds me of Jet Set Radio in that regard, just about graffiti everywhere. And Splatoon 2, I'm looking forward to going online and playing it, but I'm also kind of interested in the single-player mode and just kind of getting a hang of it, because a few times I played it, I've kind of sucked at it, to be honest. And I think this would be a really fun one to play on Christmas. It's like one of those games you can jump in and out of, kind of like Rocket League, which I like. I can't really play too many games that are like, your 50 to 100-hour games that you just like really go nuts on. I wish I could, because I do love those too, but Splatoon 2 is right up my alley in terms of gameplay and style. Number 3, we have a game that is a bit more story-focused, in fact, a lot more story-focused, and that's Spider-Man on PS4. This critically acclaimed title came out in September, and it is supposed to be, depending on who you ask, better than the Spider-Man 2 game on GameCube, which was a fantastic game in its own right. This game is another open-world game, has a very in-depth story with Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and just this whole thing going on. I purposely haven't spoiled too much of it for myself, because I want to know. I want to play the game for myself this holiday season and really get into it. This is kind of the game. This is an outlier. If you'll notice that the rest of the picks, this game is an outlier in that it is more of a mainstream game. It's more of a I want to say popular game, because Splatoon 2 is also popular, but it's a game that involves more story. It's, you know, it is more of a 20 to 30 hour gameplay experience, which to me is a lot. I know a lot of people were like, oh, this game only takes 20 hours to beat. Well, that's plenty for me. Like, I'm only going to play it probably a few hours during the Christmas season, and then throughout the year I'll pick it up here and there. So this game to me probably has the longest staying power among them, although that has yet to be determined. But I think this game will probably take me the longest to actually get to see everything in, but I'm very excited for it. This is the one of the 2 PS4 games that I'm super excited for. At number 2, and this one might be a bit of a surprise that it's only number 2, it is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for Nintendo Switch. And what else can I say about this game that hasn't been said already? Super Smash Bros. Has been one of my favorite series over the past 15 plus years, whenever Melee came out, because that's when I really started to get into it. Every game since then has just been like a new standard setter, and this one, fittingly from the name, it looks to be the ultimate Smash Bros. Game, incorporating every character that's ever appeared, plus a handful of new ones, my favorite of which being Ridley. It has an interesting story mode. That's not really the main reason I'm going to play the game. The main Smash mode looks fantastic, as you'd expect, and there's like over 100 stages, over 75 characters. There's just so much to do in this game. You know, as it was, you know, Smash Bros. Had like infinite replay value, but this game looks to take it to even another level. And it's going to be awesome. You know, every time a new Smash Bros. Game comes out, it becomes the new kind of standard among my friends whenever they come over. You know, for the longest time, we'd all play Brawl, then we played Smash 4. Now this game looks to come out right at the holiday season, right at the right time for me to just can't wait to open it, basically. I'm really excited to get into this game and play it. This had been my number 1 most anticipated game of the season, and then something interesting happened. Number 1 may come as a surprise to you, but it's Astrobot Rescue Mission, the new PSVR platforming game from the Japan studios, and wow. The only reason I even know about this game or even care about this game is because I had the pleasure to go over to my friend Frankie's house and play the PSVR for myself. I'd always been curious about the VR headset, but for $400, like, I'm not going to pay $400 to try something, you know? And they'd never demo it in any stores, which to me is dumb. Like, if they demoed this product, more people would buy it, because playing the Robot Rescue Mission was one of the wow moments, one of the first wow moments I've had in a long time in gaming. Just seeing this like sprawling 3D world open up in front of me and take control of this little robot guy who's like the main character of a platformer. To look at it on TV, it just looks like a regular, generic platforming game. You jump on stuff, you avoid enemies, but to actually wear the headset and be looking around, seeing just all the detail they put into this world and how your controller interacts with the environment, like there's just it's really innovative. It's not just like, hey, look, the stuff is like flying at the screen. Like, it really is a great use of VR, and it's just got me so amazed. And the fact that they made a full game of a Robot Rescue Mission, because that was my whole thing, was like, yeah, I really like this game, but it's just kind of a little mini game. And then sure enough, I looked it up, and they made a full game of the Robot Rescue Mission called Astrobot's Rescue Mission. And holy crap, like, I really am very excited about this game. This game in many ways represents Christmas to me, because it's just like this escape to a joyful world that really does what no game has done for me in a long time, which is raise the bar considerably. I mean, I've seen plenty of platformers. I'd say Mario Galaxy was the last time I saw a platformer that kind of wowed me, where I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. And this game, not that I've never seen a platformer like this before, but I've never seen it where you're like in the game, just like, I don't know, I can't really describe it. Again, it's one of those things, and I only got to play it for a short time when I played the Robot Rescue Mission minigame. I only got to play it for a short time, but I'm just that floored by it. And this was a couple months ago. I was tempted to buy the VR like right on the spot. Like, I had the money for it, but I decided to wait, kind of just take some time to think about it and not make an impulsive purchase. And now I'm kind of like, wow, like I really do want this game for Christmas. And we'll have to see what happens, obviously, because it's a bit pricey, VR and everything. But one way or another, I will, get Astrobot at some point because it looks incredible. So those are my top 5 games for the holiday season. I know that they're not like the big heavy hitter titles that like a lot of other people might be excited for. And nothing against those big titles. They look like a lot of fun too. But like I said, Christmas is a very special time for me for video games. And there's a lot of games that I didn't mention that I'm looking forward to playing, like smaller titles. But those are the big ones. Those are the ones that I'm hoping to see under the tree at some point. And I can't wait. Anyway, moving forward, Christmas, of course, continues coming at us. So I'd be interested to know what some of your favorite memories of Christmas are playing video games and what games you're looking forward to this holiday season.